So people are mad at KSI for one of his recent videos where KSI finally addressed his recent failure in a boxing event. Of course, that's being the KSI versus Tommy Fury fight, which KSI lost. And in his video where he addresses it, it starts off pretty normal, but halfway through the video, it takes a complete nosedive where KSI starts to say some insane shit, and this has led to even his fans calling him out for this. So let's just get right into it. So I'm sure many of you guys know by now, KSI had a boxing event back in October. This was of course the side fight because most people were there watching the Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis fight. I really hope none of you guys bet on that fight because it was an absolutely terrible performance from Dylan Dennis. We actually covered here a ton on the channel, them smack talking. You know, Dylan Dennis was talking all that smack and then he got destroyed in the ring. However, the side event to that was of course the KSI versus Tommy Fury fight. Anyone who watched that fight knows that KSI made a really good effort and he actually had a really good comeback at the end, and it was a very close fight. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would have probably bet on KSI in that situation, but the judges of course ruled in favor of Tommy Fury winning the boxing event, so of course KSI lost, and that was 2 months ago. And KSI has just recently made a video addressing this situation, and it gets really embarrassing, so let's go through it.
I know it's been a while, but there have been several reasons why. First of all, quite frankly, I just didn't feel like making a video, especially after the result of the Tommy Fury fight. I had trained so hard these past few months, you know, working overtime to do what most people saw was impossible, and that was to beat Tommy Fury. I felt like I had won the fight, so to have the judges completely take that moment away from me, yeah, it sucked. As soon as I got back home, you know, I was angry, disappointed, and eventually I just broke down and started crying.
The unfortunate part about this was 2 months ago, and the only person who can't let this go is KSI. Like, honestly, I completely forgot about the fight, but it looks like KSI has just taken this really to heart. Now, I completely understand, you know, if I was him and I was training super hard, it would definitely, you know, bug me and rub me the wrong way if I were to lose that fight, especially when, you know, of course this was 100% a very close match. Only 18% of the people watching this video right now are actually subscribed to the channel. Don't be part of the 81%. Subscribe to the channel, you have nothing to lose. However, he just can't let it go, and KSI hasn't been the same ever since.
Life isn't fair, you know, am I right? I look back at the fight and I tried to find any highlights, any showing of Tommy Fury beating me in that fight, and there was just hardly any. And it's crazy because so many people felt like I won the fight. From Eddie Hearn to, you know, Adesanya to Ariel Helwani to the millions all over the internet, you know, that thought I'd won the fight.
Like in the fight, just looking at it as a fight, I thought KSI won.
Rob's a tough one. I think it could have been a draw.
And later in the video, he actually goes out of his way to tell his fans to pretty much harass Tommy Fury. This is just not the way to go about it. You know, I understand his feelings are valid. You know, obviously he lost the fight. That's something tough. Telling your millions and millions of fans to harass the person you lost a boxing event to like 2 months later is just, it's honestly really childish. And for someone as successful as KSI, it seems really petty to me.
Why it took me so long was because of this appeal that we made. I wanted to try and right what was wrong. Me and my team put up a case to the PBA to explain why I didn't lose that fight. And lastly, I just wanted a break. I've had such a crazy year, man. I've had 3 fights this year. That's 3 tough camps, especially to Tommy Fury.
You know what, for a while there I would have even agreed with KSI that he won in this situation. You know, I think his comeback was really good. However, to see, you know, this petty response from KSI, you know, 2 months later, and keep in mind this is the same guy that's, you know, super successful on YouTube. You know, he has Prime, he's making millions and millions of dollars, and he's still like completely obsessed with losing this fight. You know, Tommy Fury really got under this guy's skin, and KSI needs to address it himself instead of encouraging his fans to harass Tommy Fury in real life. And let's just take a look at some of the comments under that video, because even KSI's own fans are completely flaming him for this response. KSI, if we're being honest, your true supporters don't really care about the loss. We are proud of how far you've come anyways, and that's exactly what KSI should be focusing on. Like, none of his fans actually care that he lost this fight. It's only him that's, you know, he just can't get over it. and his fans still completely support him. So honestly, I don't understand why this is still getting under KSI's skin so much. This guy said, JJ, stop this madness. You lost, man. We're still here for you. Losing is just a part of life, and you need to be humble, accept it, and move on, please. And I completely agree with that, man. Losing is a part of life, and it's something, KSI, you're just gonna have to deal with. Like, you have so many wins this year, you know, you're making millions of views, you're more successful on YouTube and like social media than you've ever been before, and you just need to get over this. And definitely you need to be humble about this. You know, you lost, man. I understand it was a very close fight, and honestly, if I were the judge, I probably would have gave it to him, but they didn't, and you need to move on from this. You know, I'm pretty impartial when it comes to KSI. You know, I've never been like a KSI hater. I've never been like a super enthusiastic viewer of him, so I'm pretty neutral. But if you're not going to listen from someone on the outside, KSI, you need to listen to your fans. You know, they're pretty much begging you to just stop this madness, you know, and move on. And that's really what he needs to focus on. And like KSI said, he actually did try to overturn the judge's decision, and he lost in that matter. And this guy said, 30-year-old child loses fight, loses the appeal to overturn the decision, and tells his audience to harass the man he lost to is outrageously pathetic. And this is definitely one of the more pathetic things I've seen KSI do. You know, I'm glad even KSI's fans can see through this. It's honestly one of KSI's not only biggest L's this year, but honestly one of his only L's this year. And it's just time to move on from this situation.
You're a father now. You can't be constantly partying in the club while your missus is taking care of your child. You were hardly around during Molly Mae's pregnancy, and it seems that even after the child has been born, you're hardly around. Plus, another thing I find hilarious is whenever I come across Tommy's posts on like Instagram or Twitter, the comments are just slowing him and saying that he lost the fight. And that's because I don't care if 3 random people thought you won. The world knows.
And then throughout this video, KSI unfortunately starts to hit like personal shots against Tommy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not agreeing with Tommy. You know, him being out in the club, his kid and his kid's mom are back at home is honestly really pathetic of Tommy. However, pulling these personal shots at this guy you lost to in a boxing match like 2 months ago is honestly really pathetic. And I criticize Logan Paul for doing the exact same thing against Dylan Dennis. I mean, I don't understand why a lot of these YouTubers decide to do like personal shots at them, at their opponents in these boxing events. It honestly just kind of makes them look, you know, weak. Like, instead of, you know, showing that you're going to beat them in the boxing event, you know, because your track record or how good you are at something, you know, just talking about this guy's family is honestly really lame of KSI.
Let's keep reminding Tommy that he didn't win that fight under his Instagram posts or Twitter posts or anything he posts online. And if you see him publicly, you could berate him as well and remind him that he didn't win. But ultimately, I set out what I wanted to achieve from all of this, and that was to show to all of you lot that no matter who you are or where you've come from, you put in the hard work, you know, graft to stay consistent, and you can literally do anything in life.
This next message just makes KSI look really desperate. Like telling your fans to go and harass this Tommy guy under all of his Instagram posts and, you know, Facebook and all that crap, and then telling like millions of people to harass him in public is honestly a new low for KSI. And I really hope that Tommy Fury just gets out of this guy's head, because KSI has had so many wins this year. I really hope this video doesn't come off as me just being like an ultimate KSI hater. Honestly, I've been pretty neutral on the guy, but this is just not it for KSI, and I definitely hope he deletes this video and makes a better comeback, because he's obviously a good boxer. He had a lot of good shots in this match, and KSI could be doing so much better than he is right now, but he really needs to delete that video. It's really lame, but that's just my thoughts on the situation. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. The other day we made a video about how the YouTuber Jadeon has actually deleted every single video off his entire channel. This is a crazy video you're not going to want to miss. Click here to watch it now.